Hello and welcome to the Story Behind the Stories, your weekly look at the pages of the Neepawa Banner Press. Thank you very much for taking a little bit of your time and spending it here with us on NAC TV. I'm Eoin Devereux, reporter with the Banner Press, welcoming you to the show, the June 21st edition of the Banner Press. And I'm joined this week, of course, by reporter Casper Wehrhahn. Casper, good to have you here this week.
Good to be here once again and going through another good edition of the paper, I feel.
Really nice way for us to lead into the official start of summer. This, of course, is dated for Friday, June 21st. That is the solar equinox, the longest day of sunshine. So hopefully you get a chance to go out there and enjoy it. And once you're done, hopefully you'll come home and give the paper a perusal, as it were. We start, as always, best place to start, the front page. This week's front page, a very colorful edition, and a great event, and a new event for the most part for Neepawa. These types of events happen throughout Manitoba, throughout Canada, globally, on a regular and consistent basis. But here in Neepawa, it's a new one. It's for the most part, it's a new one for us. And Casper, you're going to be able to walk us right through it, aren't you?
Yes, this was one I was very happy to hear about and able to hear about it in time so I could go down and give some coverage to this, get some photos and whatnot. This was a event put on by Neepawa's new Neepawan Area Pride group. And they organized a Paint with Pride event, which was essentially, inviting 2S LGBTQ plus community members and allies, friends, family to come down to Arts Forward and paint a section of the sidewalk with the colors of the Progress Pride flag. It's a variation of the one that you'll most likely know most often, the Rainbow Pride flag, which is symbolic of the community as a whole. So yeah, it just got people out there and painting away to help put this as a permanent installation into the community to, makes the community, the 2S LGBTQ plus community visible within Neepawa, because, we are here and we've been here for a while, but, people, whether they're youth, adults, might not know what's all out there, what there is for, group support or support from the community as well. Yep. So this is a bit of a visibility thing and just showing that, you have support here. And I mean, it was a great day. It was windy, mind you, that day, but, it was sunny, good weather, and it looks like everybody had fun. There was actually a good crowd out there. I was very happy to see that.
That is very nice to see, because most people, the average person, perhaps doesn't realize that there is such a healthy and diverse demographic of LGBTQ within communities, smaller communities, such as Neepawa. And I think this is important. In my opinion, this is my personal opinion on this, these types of things, even if you don't 100% agree with them, these are things that need to be a part of our community, because we're supposed to be a community of inclusion. And this is a good example of it. I wish, growing up, I was a child of the 80s. And quite honestly, the 80s was a different time. There was a lot of good times, there was a lot of fun, but at the same time, there was a lot of things that people didn't talk about. They didn't have these types of open, inclusive conversations. And that, to a degree, I think affected our generation. I think it did very much. But it's nice to see that conversations like this, inclusions like this, are starting to happen, so that every generation can understand each other like this. And this is just a really nice example of it. So I hope that you are supportive of it. And again, like I said, we can all agree to disagree on this thing, but let's just not be jackasses about it. Pardon my French, because every cliche as it is love type thing,
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And I was definitely very touched to see, the range of age demographic there as well. I mean, of course, there were people there with family members, so they had their kids there and whatnot. But there was some youth there, and there's people my age. There's people who are older adults as well. So it was a good mix in there, and yeah, I mean, it's just great to see communities. It's definitely something that's needed in communities, things like this. But especially in my experience and from what I've viewed, from other people and their communities, it's something that's especially needed in communities that are rural, such as Neepawa,
Yep.
or areas that tend to lean more, for lack of a better descriptor, more conservative.
Yeah. Yep.
It's very important to have, and sort of touching a little bit still on this, just for sort of an interesting history note here as well. I had attended the Brandon Pride this year again, and they were celebrating 20 years of marriage equality in Manitoba. I am older than marriage equality in this province, which is quite baffling. Like, I know it was fairly recent, but like, for me to be older than it, like, I'm 27 right now. I'm turning 28 this year.
Yeah.
That's not that long ago. Like,
Look.
we have made some good progress in Canada, comparatively to the United States. Like, we've had some things develop a lot sooner, but yeah, having it come into realization that it's that soon was like, oh my God.
Look, I'm sorry, this is not to make a joke of this, but as you get older, Casper, you start feeling that feeling a lot more. Because we were, this isn't a good comparison. I was talking the other day, I'm older than Google and type things and that type of stuff. It's like you're going to feel that a lot more as when you hit your 30s and beyond there. But
oh, I know. There's some things already as well that I'm like, I thought that was older than I was. I don't remember like what it was, but I had that discovery a while ago for something else as well. And it really just kind of does throw you for a loop, no matter what it is, really. What
saddens and depresses me is when I hear Beyonce and Taylor Swift songs on the classic oldie stations. That hurts me deep in my soul. That's just one of those. But getting back to this, and again, maybe I'm speaking out of turn, I don't know, but I just got to say some kudos as well. Ken Waddell, anyone who knows Ken knows he's a conservative individual, deeply spiritual individual. The family, very spiritual, believe in our Lord and Savior and whatnot. So for Ken Waddell to see the value of sharing this type of story, not just in the paper, but in the front page, I'll give a shout out to him on that there, because he's at the point right now where he sees that everybody is just, they're on their own journeys, and it's nice that we were able to do that. I think, and like I said, maybe I shouldn't speak on Ken's behalf. I shouldn't speak on your behalf. Okay, as usual, the middle-aged white guy's got to have his opinion in there. Let me throw it back to you, Casper.
Well, no, that is definitely an excellent thing that you bring up. I mean, Ken is very open with the stuff that he believes in. So I think it is fairly safe to say that, he has made some progress in terms of certain things, especially like being open to having this in the paper, and much less on the front page. That was a little unexpected for me, if I must say, but I mean, he's always been kind to me, and it's very appreciated.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. And very much again, like I said, this is about community spirit. This is about news as well. Mm-hmm. You're allowed to have opinions on anything and everything, whether you agree with or disagree. These are the important things. But this is a perfect example of news in our community. This is a news event which occurred in our community, which is why we covered it, why we spotlighted it, why we shared the information with you. First and foremost, we are news, and this is an example of it. So if you get an opportunity, definitely check out the story that Casper wrote in regards to it. You can find that, of course, right on our front page. Carries over onto page 8 of this week's edition of the Neepawa Banner Press. It's a 16-page paper, and it was so jam-packed with so many different things, including one. This is a story that normally, we put on our front page each and every year. But this year we still put it on a color page because it's still very important about inclusion in our community. And that is the annual Filipino Independence Day Parade. It occurred last Saturday on June 15th. Of course, Filipino Independence Day, where they received their independence from the nation of Spain, was on the, if I remember right, the 12th. It's every year, the 12th of June. But they do their parade on the weekend, you know, because everybody's off work for the most part. And it doesn't disrupt traffic that much. Very appreciative of that. And it's such an amazing display each and every year. It is so incredible. If you're not able to go down there and see it for yourself, always remember to check your local listings right here on NAC TV, because they always have an individual down there. This year it was John Drinkwater. He was down there. He was shooting the whole thing. So I am sure that's going to be part of the schedule. Always remember, check your local listings right here on NAC TV. If you weren't able to be there, see it for yourself, because it is quite the sight to see, Casper.
It really is, yeah. I haven't been able to go and see it in person as of yet, since I've, been out and about, unfortunately, those past couple years in other communities. But just from pictures alone, it's a very impressive event, and one that I personally am very welcome to have in the community. I mean, why not celebrate the cultures that the community has within it? And I mean, this is an important time for our Filipino community, especially a great time for the Filipino community, and a great time for all other people in the community to come and join and celebrate the Filipino culture, learn more about the Filipino culture, and just have a great weekend together.
That's right. And again, you can see a few of those pictures inside this week's edition of the Banner Press. To go along with that, talking about the pageantry and the visual displays of the parade, we have a new exhibit that we are very excited to share with you over at the Beautiful Plains Museum. And Casper, you got the details on that, and you got them to share with us right now, don't you?
Sure did, yep. The Beautiful Plains Museum within Neepawa has recently opened a new exhibit. The opening was held last week, if you're watching this show on time here. And it was for the opening of their new fire truck garage. This has been a project they've been working on for a while now. They have some old firefighting equipment and vehicles that they now store there. They've wanted to give them a nice, safe place to be stored and to create a little bit of an exhibit out of it as well. So they've got that garage open now. They've got a wonderful red fire truck from approximately 1942 in there. That's sort of one of the highlight pieces in there, but they also have a 1905 Franklin fire wagon as well, which I was intrigued to learn was pulled by people and not horses. I would have figured it would have been horses, but no, it was people, it turns out. So that was kind of something interesting to find out during the opening ceremonies there, but had a pretty decent attendance, especially considering, work day and the time and whatnot, because it was sort of a noon hour event, and usually people are still kind of working depending what you're doing there, but I mean, it was good. It was well received. I believe there was a few people from outside the community as well who came in and took a look at it and said that they really enjoyed not only the fire truck garage exhibit itself, but also touring inside the museum. So that was really great to hear too.
It's wonderful to see the museum is really starting to thrive. It had a rough patch as well, kind of we all did during the COVID-19 years there. Wasn't able to be open to the public, but now it is taking full advantage of the opportunities to showcase itself and showcase Neepawa once again. So if you're not a resident of Neepawa, that's a reason to come pass through our charming little community. And if you are a resident of Neepawa, when's the last time you were down at the museum? Maybe it's about time you went down there and saw some of the new old for yourself. All right, now let's talk about from one exhibit to another, although this one's a little further down the road. I had an opportunity to do a story with local Neepawa artist Katie Martin. If you're a loyal and consistent reader of the Banner Press, you've seen her name many a time in the paper about her displays with Neepawa tourism, the fact that one of her exhibits is now proudly hung in the former ACC Arena in Toronto, home of the Maple Leafs and the Raptors. Well, some of her art right now is going to be on display in Clear Lake at the 2024 Golden Gala. That's right, if you go on to page 15 of this week's edition of the Neepawa Banner Press, I did an interview with Katie where she shared with me some of the details of putting together this exhibition that's going to be happening in Clear Lake. It's going to be happening on July 5th, Friday, July 5th. If you're watching this, there's still time. It's a little short, but there's still time to get tickets for this event. It's a huge, major event. It's art, it's food, it's live entertainment. It's a whole thing here. And like I said, you can find that story on page 15. I used to work with Katie on the Neepawa Tourism Board. She has got so many different ideas about what this community can do and how it can spotlight itself and how it can beautify itself in a lot of different ways. If you've seen many of the murals, the pieces of artwork throughout the community of Neepawa, Katie is the leader on that. She and her students over at the school do 2 of those each and every year, and it's really added something, I believe, to the community. So if you'd like to be able to own a piece of her art, this is going to be an opportunity for you to go check it out at the gala. So I was very pleased to be able to share her story with you this week. I was also happy very much to share the story of another individual I worked with for an extended period of time on Neepawa Tourism. That is Jeff Descender. He is the owner and operator of Frozen Fire Studios, and they put together the 2nd annual Sober Social right here in Neepawa. It was an event that was geared towards live entertainment, mocktails, just an entertaining evening for those who don't believe that it's necessary to drink to enhance the night with substances of any type that may cloud your mind, may dull your senses. And it's wonderful to see an organization like that sort of see that and try and put something together on an annual basis. Like Casper, I don't know, obviously generationally we're very much different. I think I'm a generation. I think there's a generation in between your generation and my generation type thing, if the math keeps mathing correctly. But my generation was when you were in your teens, when you were in your 20s, you went out, you had a beverage or 2, and you danced. That maybe wasn't the right way to do it, but that's what we did. Like I'll tell you one time, I remember office Christmas party, I had a beverage or 2 because it was an open bar. And that was very much a mistake on my part. Nothing bad happened, but it was just one of those ones of like, you wake up the next morning, it's like, oh God.
The whole, why did I do that?
Never again type thing. Your generation, for the most part, has a different perspective on things like that, doesn't it?
That's actually a good question. I mean, myself personally, I've never really been interested in drinking socially or otherwise. But I know that growing up, a lot of my friends, of course, were into that sort of stuff and trying stuff out like that. But yeah, I don't think it was maybe perhaps quite as heavy as older generations. Like I know with my brother's generation, that was definitely a big thing.
Yeah.
And he's had a few wild experiences himself, but he's doing good.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, I think you would be correct in estimating that it has perhaps pulled back a little bit, at least to some degree. I'm not sure what the generation below me is like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, events like this, I think are a good thing to have around. I mean, we've talked about it before. It's nice to have spaces where there's not quite as much pressure. In this case, there's no pressure at all to have a beverage, because that is definitely an aspect of going out to like a bar or something with friends, is that there is a societal expectation so to speak, that you do have an alcoholic beverage if you're going to a space like that, but you don't have to.
Yeah.
So, events like this, they take off that pressure and you can just have a good time, do whatever you want to do.
What was nice about it as well, and I definitely want to spotlight this, I do hope that you'll take a moment to read the story on your own, but I will very much focus on this being the second annual Sober Social. Last year was a fundraising event. They were able to bring in $625, which went towards the Miles for Mental Health initiative. Very good local worthy cause. This year they decided to branch out a little bit more to the Westman Mental Wellness and Suicide Prevention Program that helps all of southwestern Manitoba. And this year they were hoping to at least match their amount, maybe even eclipse it to some degree. They did that and then some. They ended up being able to bring in $1,025 that they're going to be giving to the Westman Mental Wellness and Suicide Prevention Group. We very much are looking forward to being able to share the picture of that check presentation in a future edition, hopefully, of the Banner Press. And it's good to see Jeff. Jeff really sees the value of giving back to the community he's from. He and his wife, his family, and all the people that work over at Frozen Fire see that value and very much live the gimmick, as it were. Like that, this is something they practice what they preach. So kudos to Jeff and everyone over there. From the bits and pieces I've heard, it was very good. It went very well. I didn't attend it myself personally, and again, anyone who knows me knows that if I can avoid people at any time, I'll usually go about that.
I have to be honest, I'm kind of right there with you on that. Like, I enjoy being around people, but I can only socialize for so long.
And again, it was one of those things, again, maybe oversharing, one of those things. In my 20s, and whenever I'd go out, it'd take a lot to drag me out. But again, it was one of the two of those beverages, that liquid confidence thing, that sort of got me out there. And that's not the way a person should be. That's not the way a person should live. They should be able to go beyond that type of thing. So, and I think as I've matured, aged over the years, I think I've become a little more comfortable in my skin in that type of way. So that's just sharing a little bit of me with you on that. God, 30 years ago, I probably wouldn't need a beverage just before the show to share that, but not no more. Maybe a nice lemonade.
Oh yeah. Oh, especially in this heat. Yeah, that'd be good.
Exactly. All right, we only got a few minutes left, so we're going to power through and we're going to get a couple other details done here. I was able to go last week to a check presentation from Stride Credit Union. They have given a little bit of money to the Neepawa Ag Grounds, and it's wonderful to see a business, a corporation like that, see value in giving back. They're going to be assisting. The ag complex needs some electrical work done, so some of that money is going towards that, as well as some new signage for the entire complex. In total, Stride is giving up about $25,000 to support it. So I am very happy to be able to share that information with you, and it's a little story there, but it won't take up much of your time if you want to check it out for yourself. All right. Let me get your take on this one coming up here, Casper. This is one we've talked about a couple times. The new chapter of Habitat for Humanity in Neepawa. They held a Q&A session recently because a lot of people, for the most part, still don't actually know what the heck Habitat for Humanity is about. A lot of people still think it means they're giving you a free home.
Right.
So, well, let me get your take on the organization from the bits and pieces you've heard about it. What's your take on what they're trying to do in Neepawa?
Oh, it's definitely a fantastic initiative by my estimation. I mean, as you said, people may have heard of it, but don't really know what it's about. And I was definitely one of those people previously, prior to having, gone to the Rotary Luncheon and learned some more about them, because I'd heard about it before in the past from different communities. But didn't really know much about it from there, past the name. So it was very interesting through that, and then of course your story as well, having attended the Q&A, to learn more about it and exactly how it works. Because people who don't know much about the program might assume, that they're giving a house, but there is a lot involved with it. I mean, first of all, you do have to have the applicable finances in relation to getting the house, and you have to put in some contribution to it as well as the family. You have to put in like sweat equity or whatever else you can contribute towards that.
And don't get fearful about that. When you hear the term sweat equity, it's not as difficult as you make it sound. It's essentially what it boils down to is you give back to your community in some way, some shape, some form. And that's a big part of Habitat for Humanity, is helping families to find these roots within that community. So if you get a chance, read this story about the Q&A session. There were about a dozen families there that wanted to learn a little bit more. But if you want to learn a little bit more, you can go speak to Amanda Nottingale down at the Salvation Army, or you can check your local listings again. NACTV was there as well. And they were recording the entire Q&A meeting. And it was very enlightening, there were a lot of answers that even myself, I've dealt with Habitat in Brandon and in Portage la Prairie for 20, 25 years, but there were even questions I had about them. So it was very uplifting to sort of learn a little bit more. There's so many more stories as well we could talk to you about this week. I mean, we haven't even touched on the Canada Day festivities that are going to be happening in Neepawa and surrounding areas. We haven't even touched on any of the sports. We've got the Midwest Regionals. Baseballs, they're going to be happening right here in Neepawa, Santa Clara Baseball League results. But we wanted to take the last minute or two to share some special news. You're going to have to check out Ken Waddell's op-ed this week. If you never read them, this is the week you have to read it, because it's breaking news. The Waddell Group, as it were, is expanding. The Waddell family has purchased the Verdun Empire Express. It is a newspaper based in the community of Verdun and surrounding areas. It's been around since the 1880s, and it was close to closing, and they've decided to step up. It is part of the partnership right now, which includes the Neepawa Banner Press, the Rivers Banner, and now the Verdun Empire Advance. So he's turning quite the little conglomerate there, isn't he?
Yeah, sure is. Gathering up the papers in the area, yep. And we were looking at the paper before coming on to the show here, and it is a nice looking paper. I mean, there's maybe one or two little things that we thought could use perhaps a little tweak, but aside from that, like it's a very sharp looking paper, I think.
The interesting thing as well is the color palettes as well.
Yes.
I don't have a copy of the Rivers Banner here, but the Rivers Banner, if I remember right, is a black and green, heavy emphasis on the green. You got the Banner and Press here, it's heavy emphasis on the red, and then the Verdun Advance Empire, heavy emphasis on the blue. It's like, holy cow. It's we're turning into the rainbow, much like the Paint with Pride event.
Sure are, yep. We're collecting up all the colors as well, in addition to papers, yep.
That's right. That's why I think you definitely need to pick up a copy of this week's edition of the Banner and Press, because it's all those stories we talked about and so much more. And if you have any story ideas or suggestions, we're always appreciative of them. Just remember, you can give us a call at 476-3401. That's the number we can be reached at, or email us at news@neepawabanner.com. And if you can do it in the next couple of days, that'd be greatly appreciated, because somebody's got some vacation time coming up, don't they, Casper?
Yes, I sure do, and I'm happy to take it easy for a little bit, have a little break and recharge. Exactly,
and perfect time to be able to do that as well with the official start of summer.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So again, I'll either be flying solo next week, or we'll have Ken Waddell in here to talk a little bit about the story behind the stories for the Neepawa Banner and Press. And once again, as always, thank you for tuning in every week right here on NACTV. Your loyalty is always greatly appreciated. Have yourself a great day.